is your no bullshit guide to a happier life. Quick, but not necessarily easy tips to help you to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of your business and your life. My name is Helen Calvert. I'm a coach, a business owner and a parent, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I do swear occasionally, as the title suggests, so pop in your headphones if I'm not safe for little ears. Ready to go? Let's do this. Hello and welcome to this episode where we're going to be talking about gratitude practice. I've been looking forward to this one because this is one where my views on this tool in our toolkit have changed quite a bit. So I'm really excited to discuss this one with you. What is gratitude practice? Well, essentially it is reminding yourself of what you have to be grateful for. What is it in your day, in your life, in this moment that you can feel grateful for? And noting that down is gratitude practice. So with this tool, we are going to start with the bullshit element, because this is the bit that I was struggling with and have been for some time when it comes to this practice. This is not about punishing ourselves or berating ourselves for being ungrateful. I struggled because I really thought that gratitude practice was alongside toxic positivity. You know, always be grateful, always look on the bright side, think positive, and all that awfulness, which is so damaging to looking after ourselves, looking after our needs, self-worth and all the rest of it. Be grateful and stop complaining. No, that is bullshit. And that is not what this is about. It is actually a powerful tool for contributing to a happier life. I have spent a week recording my gratitude, starting by just noting things down every day, just 3 things to be grateful for. And whilst I was doing this, I also had a chat with a few people in my life about gratitude practice. And I have come to some conclusions about how it can be used really effectively and not as a stick with which to beat ourselves. So, as I say, this is not about saying, right, you've got to be grateful and stop feeling negative, stop feeling sorry for yourself, just be grateful. No, that's not what this is about. So let's talk about what it is about. So as I say, I started by writing down 3 things a day that I was grateful for just at the end of the day. And then I had a chat to Carol Nesbitt at the Blend Centre, and she put me on to a gratitude app. Of course there's an app, and it's got a little pink icon with a heart in it. I'll put the link in the show notes. And it's brilliant. It's such a cool app. I love it. It's got like vision board options, journaling options. It's great. It's just, I love it. Really rings my bells. And it's really helped me to understand what this gratitude stuff is all about, because it gives you, amongst other things, it gives you daily prompts of things to write down that you're grateful for. And they are certainly not all about, well, are you feeling grateful? I mean, at least you've got food on the table. It's not about that at all. What it is about is balance. So there are all kinds of things that happen to us that are annoying, frustrating, irritating, that bring us down. And recognizing what is good and beautiful and helpful and nourishing helps us balance all of that so that we end the day or start the day thinking, okay, all right, I've got this, rather than, Jesus, everything's awful, because it very rarely is. Sometimes everything is really challenging, and gratitude practice is not about making you feel bad for recognizing that things are really challenging. No. Gratitude practice is just slightly balancing the scales so that you don't get sucked into more of a negative vortex than is necessary. I also spoke to my friend Elaine, who studied theology, and is a Christian. I'm not religious, but I spoke to Elaine about the concept of grace because it seemed to go alongside this or to have some connection with this. Grace is something that one of my heroes, the amazing Glennon Doyle, she talks about grace. And I'd also watched the biopic of Aretha Franklin with the amazing Jennifer Hudson playing Aretha. And she sings Amazing Grace at the end. And it just all seemed to come together in my head. So I talked to Elaine about grace because I knew she would know what that Christian concept is. I'm sure it comes up in other religions too. And the way Elaine described it was, she said that grace is a free gift. It is given to all, to everybody. You don't have to earn it. It's not about being good enough. It's given to everyone. But the trick and the difficult bit is that we have to accept it. Now, this is clearly, a concept to explore a lot more, especially if you are a Christian. But it reminded me of what Glennon Doyle also says about the sun. I think it's in her first book. She talks about the sun coming up every morning and it being an invitation. You don't have to accept it. You can close the curtains and retreat from the world, but every morning the sun comes up and says, "Are you joining us today?" And it made me think of that. And for me, sometimes, feeling grateful might feel a little bit heavy, but recognizing the grace in the world is something I feel like I can always do. I can always look around and think, wow, okay, yeah, the sunshine, the beautiful flowers, the birds singing, there's grace, and I can accept it. I can turn towards it and think, wow, that's quite the thing that I and everyone around me is being given. So, however we look at it, however we think about it, however we want to record it, how does gratitude practice or recognizing the grace contribute to a happier life? As I say, it helps to break a pattern of negativity. So if you say to me that something is wrong, then that requires the usual excessive kindness that I talk about all the time, and it requires an identification of your needs, which I talk about all the time, and all that good stuff to try to help you through or help you solve what is wrong. But if you say to me that everything is wrong or everybody hates me, those kinds of feelings of just, I cannot see out, it just all feels heavy and crappy, that can respond really well to the reality check that gratitude practice can provide. It's about reminders and rebalancing. It's not about squashing or shaming. So if you say to me, oh, I know I should feel grateful, but no, you don't have to feel grateful at any time. You don't have to feel grateful. Things could be really shit. You do not have to feel grateful. But if you say to me, things are pretty awful right now, but I can still see the beauty in this world. Yes, because that is helping you to just rebalance slightly, and it will help you just have a little bit more resilience for managing the genuinely crappy stuff that is crappy. I spoke to Kimmy Drain of Nourishing Northern Mamas, who I know I've mentioned on this podcast before, because I know she is a big advocate of gratitude practice. And she reminded me that one of the things we can be grateful for and note down that we're grateful for is ourselves. Woof, powerful. We don't have to be grateful for external things and count our blessings and say thank you. We can say thank you to ourselves. I am grateful for me. I am grateful for what past me did for myself. I am grateful for present me who is looking after me right now. I'm grateful for me and my strengths whilst I navigate this stuff, whatever that might be. So that's a really powerful one, isn't it, to consider. What have I learned through doing this practice, apart from the fact that it definitely rebalances the brain away from the negativity? Well, I learned that to start with, it's kind of scary, because if you're not used to doing it, and then you start stating gratitude for things that you probably take for granted. I'm grateful for a roof over my head. I'm grateful for food on the table. I'm grateful for, my children and my parents and my friends and the air that I breathe and the car that I drive. it kind of focuses the mind on the fact that those things are actually not a given. They're all things we could lose. So it's a bit like, oh, I didn't really want to focus on the fact that I'm grateful for those. I liked going through my life just taking them for granted and not looking directly at it. But it turns out if you do it daily or weekly or regularly, if you do it regularly, then actually it helps your brain to recognize that those things are sticking around, that there is some consistency. It actually helps you to feel safer. Not because you're talking about the same things every day either. You're not saying every day, I'm grateful yet again for having food on the table. We all are, but we don't have to say it every day. But recognizing that every day there are things to be grateful for, you realize that there's good in the world, and then the world starts to feel safer. So it's less like, oh my God, I don't want to look at the things I could lose. It's more like, wow, look at the abundance. I mean, really look at the abundance. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. There is so much good in the world. And that's a comforting feeling. That's a good feeling. So our mindset block alert for this episode is one that was a little bit of a block for me. So I'm going to share it in case it resonates with you as well. I have found that I find it much easier to be grateful to the universe than to people. So, for instance, I might say I'm grateful for the sunshine, for the beautiful flowers, for coffee, for the view of the sea, to be in a big field, whatever, something about nature, something about the natural world. That feels really easy to me to be grateful for. That's all great. But I realised that I have something of a me against the world kind of mindset that has borne some examination. And it just didn't come, it wasn't that I was resistant to it, but it didn't come naturally to me when I thought, what am I grateful for? To think about people. And that's because I have worked very hard to have my own back, look after myself, be the one to make myself feel safe, which is all really powerful and important stuff. And I'm very grateful to myself for having done that work. But it can mean that it's easy to overlook the contribution that other people make, or maybe to feel as though it's not something to look at, or maybe to even get in the mindset of, I do this by myself, which isn't true. I don't, not at all. There are huge amounts of people to whom I can feel grateful. So the beauty of the app that I downloaded was that rather than it saying, what are you grateful for today? In which case I probably would have spent the week being grateful for the natural world. It asks specific questions, and some of those are about people. So it made me think about this. And it actually switched what I was doing to, apart from doing the app, I switched to noting down every evening 3 people to whom I am grateful for different things they've done during the day. And that has been wonderful. That has made me realise that, yes, I have my own back, but other people have my back too. So that's made me feel even safer. Look at all these people that I can be grateful to every day. People are doing things for me and around me for which I can feel grateful. So that was a little bit of a block I didn't know I had, that gratitude was all about kind of beautiful things being provided by the universe or God or whoever you think provides us with, flowers and sunshine. Whereas actually there's a huge amount to be grateful for people. We're doing this shit. We're all out here together. And I'm very happy to have found the power of feeling grateful towards others. So, yes, I am now an advocate of gratitude practice where I really was not before. And I think it's because I just cannot stress enough how much it is about helping ourselves rebalance and not about making ourselves feel ashamed for having our feelings. Human beings have an enormous range of emotions, and we will all experience them all. And it doesn't matter how privileged you are, you will still experience them all. And no amount of gratitude is going to stop you from feeling negative feelings. And it shouldn't, because all of our feelings are valid and important, and they all point us towards what we need. And our needs are valid and important. We don't have to feel grateful so that we never feel bad. but it is helpful to feel grateful so that we never feel too bad. So with that, be excessively kind to yourselves and show yourselves some gratitude. And I hope you can squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of life. See you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Did you know that my first book is now available to purchase online? Check out the show notes for details of how to get your hands on a copy. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are up. If you would like to work with me one-to-one or follow more of my content, you can find out how in the show notes. See you next time.